Today we're going to finish the details of Satan from Kingdom Death.
That the entirety of the cosmos is accessible through each and every individual's mind, connecting to the great mind, the great spirit.
Welcome back to the channel, Collectors. So in today's video, we're going to finish up Satan from Kingdom Death. In this video, I'm going to show you guys how to render some soft edges and lost edges and make this look a lot more realistic. So stick around to the end because I know you won't want to miss this skill. So if you're ready to finish Satan from Kingdom Death, let us begin. Alright, welcome. So we're going to be finishing the Pinup Satan this week, and want you to get all these colors ready so that we can paint this Pinup Satan ASAP. Okay, so back from the last stage, we're going to be starting to paint the red clothing. So right here I'm getting a bit of fuel blue mixed in with a little bit of chimera red. So right here we're just starting with the initial levels, and I'm not too fast about the volumes right now because what we're going to do is we're going to be very accurate with the shapes in the subsequent stages. Remember, if you want the reference pictures, do head on to our Patreon and become a patron today. All the reference pictures will be uploaded for the patrons, and I find it really useful because if you get the reference shapes correct, will definitely improve your painting, and you don't want to miss this out because this is definitely the most efficient way to improve your painting. Okay, so now I'm just adding in a little bit of red with a bit of basic skin tone. So right here what I'm doing is that I'm going to be using the basic skin tone as the judge for value, and yeah, so I have African shadow for the shadow colors, I have basic skin tone for the mid-tones, and eventually I'll be adding in pale skin tone for the highlights. So see, adding in more basic skin tone here. Adding in a little bit of orange to really push the highlights, create this effect of a warm light away from the cool shadows. Okay? So right here, I'm doing very little blending. I'm just being very precise about the shapes which we mentioned just now. Why do shapes really influence the miniature? Because at the end of the day, the viewer has only some degree of reference to the miniature on a two-dimensional picture. And the way that you can make the miniature a lot more readable is by influencing the values. And how values interact with the picture is that it needs to be formed correctly. If you have placed the values incorrectly, or rather just strangely, the miniature wouldn't appear as it is in real life. So all my reference pictures have been taken from real life, and at least they were accurate to real life. Okay, so now I'm adding in a little bit of pale skin tone, adding in a little bit of fluorescent yellow there. Okay, and a bit of a little watercolor pale blue green. And what I'm trying to do here is that I'm trying to influence the skin on the left side of this model towards a more yellow and warmer tone. Why? Because there will be a lantern on the left hand side of this model, and you want to have some of these influences on this model. Alright, it's looking really good there, and you can see this very subtle hint of temperature there really. So what I'm doing is also adding a little bit of warm yellow from chimera into the mix to really push the color temperature. And notice this part only highlighting on the planes facing the lamp. What this does is that it really skews the highlight towards one direction. Alright, so she's looking pretty sweet. Now we're gonna start painting in the red tones. So I'm adding in red, basic flash, a bit of Indian shadow for the base colors, and I'm just going to be creating the initial highlight for this fading object where she's sitting on the pumpkin. So for this, I'm trying to emphasize that the source of energy is coming from within the pumpkin, so I'm placing a lot more emphasis on the middle areas. For this area, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to create a colder red highlight. So what I'm doing is I'm going to add in some fluorescent pink to the mix. This fluorescent pink is from scale 75. And right here I'm being very careful about the values. I don't want this glow to outshine the skin, and I want to make sure that this remains at best at mid-tone level and not even touch the highlights. At this point of time, I find that this point is worth talking about is because that you can't overemphasize every single part of the miniature. If you do overemphasize every single part of the miniature, we have no area to focus on. This is one of the mistakes which I've used to make when I was a beginner painter. So now, right here, I'm trying to downplay the glow of this area where she's sitting on, just so that it doesn't take away the attention from her. As you can see, she's sitting on a gigantic pumpkin. And this gigantic pumpkin is a face-like structure, and face-like structures definitely will want to draw the attention away from the viewer. So what I'm doing is I'm just trying to do it very subtly and create a sense of readability without taking away too much attention. Okay, so now orange mixed in with Indian shadow. I'm gonna be creating some midtones and mixing in some fluorescent orange, and I'm going to be creating some midtones for the pumpkin. At this point of time, I'm not too fussed about the details. Because we're going to be highlighting it as an area, adding in yellow, orange fluorescence. Trying to up the value using fluorescent colors is not a smart thing to do, but I don't really have a choice here, because if I add in any white or any higher value colors, the fluorescence won't really show. So you just have to do this while building on many layers. Also, we'll realize that fluorescent colors have totally shade coverage. You can't cover anything with fluorescent colors, so the only option is to do this over and over again until you get a decent enough coverage. Okay, so I'm just going to touch up this miniature very slightly, and I'll show you the final results in just a little bit. I basically painted the pipe in bone colors, and yeah, I'm going to be finishing the results in just a little bit. Wow, that was a really amazing project, and I really enjoyed myself painting this Satan Pinup from Kenneth. What I really like is that I also decorated the base plinth with this pentagram, and I think it's really beautiful. So I hope you liked it, and I'll catch you in just a little bit. So now we have finished Satan from Kingdom Death. I hope you liked her. Let me know what other Kingdom Death miniatures you'd like to see me paint. Just let me know in the comments below and I'll do my very best so that I can include it into the schedule and you can see your favorite miniatures painted. At this point of time, I'd like to take the time to thank my patrons for allowing me to do this. Because of their generous donations, I'm able to paint and record these videos so that we all get to become better miniature painters together. So, if you want to support the channel even further, why don't you head on to the Patreon right now? The exclusive video for this time round would be the uncut version of Satan and I hope you don't miss that out. However, if you can't become a patron for whatever reason, that's okay too. I'd like to take the time to thank you for watching all the way to the end, and if you think I deserve it, do give me a like and subscribe because this really helps the channel out and allows us to grow even more. So I hope you enjoyed yourself and learned something, and I hope to see you in the next video. See you.